Hi, I'm Insert Name here, and you're listening to the Party Chat podcast.
Xbox on.
Game on, baby! Wow!
Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep.
Let's do this.
Hello and welcome to Xbox One Party Chat, the official podcast of the Xbox One subreddit, and this is episode number 32. As per usual, I'm your host Ross Miller, and I'm joined by everyone's favourite uncle. It's Clay Parker.
How are you doing, everybody? I don't know why I'm doing
Are you
that.
sick?
No, I'm completely fine. Completely fine.
That was the worst joke ever.
I know. I don't know why I did that. I apologize, everyone.
And that other voice you can hear is the Cheesemeister himself. It's Rhys.
What up, yo? See, I also can make an awful intro.
There's no
Yeah,
good
that
intro,
intro
folks.
is
There's no
terrible.
good intro.
Do you know what would make that intro better?
What's
Not
that?
talking.
Yeah, you
Dubstep?
stop talking. No, I would say stripper slaves. That would
Oh,
make
yes,
that a lot.
indeed.
Yeah.
Slavery.
If
So
only
talking
we
about
were.
that?
If only that was somehow relevant.
Actually, and just to clarify, both male and female stripper slaves.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Yeah. So later on we have an interview with Joel from Funcom, the creators of Conan Exile, which is coming to Xbox One next year. But first of all, we get things started with what we have been playing. So Rhys, I'm going to start with you. What have you been playing this week?
I have been playing a lot, and in fact, only one game this week, and I have been playing Battlefield 1. Just chipping away at multiplayer, shooting people in the face, you know, that old chestnut.
Riding horses.
Actually, I've been doing a lot of flying this week. Flying is really fun when you get a full team of a team of 3 people, and you can fly in the bomber because with a skilled team, it's actually quite difficult to take out a bomber. It's fun. That's what I've been up to. Nothing special, just wasting time on Battlefield, basically.
There's no such thing as wasting time in Battlefield.
Sorry, yeah, that was really politically.
Actually,
incorrect of me.
Reese, before I jump on to either myself or Ross, have you played any of the new modes on Battlefield?
What do you mean new modes? Like, did they?
So they have the custom playlist. They have pistols only on the fog mode
I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, so when you go into multiplayer, if anybody hasn't seen this already, because it is awesome. Over on the far right is custom game modes or something like that, and it's the developers I think have put together some custom game types, and it's only for a limited time. One of them is they've taken one of the maps, reduced it in size. You can only use pistols, and there's a layer of fog on the ground, so it's really hard to see more than maybe 10 feet in front of you. It's crazy, and it's hardcore. They've introduced hardcore mode, so that means there's no one shows up on your mini map, and I think there's no hit indicator maybe, and then you can kill your own. Yeah, you can kill your own team members. So there's lots of accidental team killing. It's a blast, and the other modes are just variants of the hardcore dominance and rush and all that other stuff.
Hey,
So it's
I wish I
pretty
had known
wild.
about
Definitely.
those.
Yeah, you need to check it out, man. You need to check it out.
Yeah, I was actually the reason I was playing so much Battlefield is I was house sitting for a friend, and I didn't really have anything to do. And Battlefield is such a great time waster, basically.
I'm gonna watch your house and play some Battlefield.
Yeah, I know, right? Life is just so hard right now, man. I don't know how I manage every day.
Clay, what about you? What have you been playing?
Oh, actually, last week I think I mentioned on the podcast I picked up Titanfall 2. I started playing it over the weekend, and I am loving the hell out of the game. It is about 1 million times better than the tech test was.
Really?
Yeah. It is way worth it in my opinion, and it's on sale right now. I think for $30 on Xbox Live, or somewhere around there, maybe 30 or 35. Way good. I'm probably a little bit more than halfway through the campaign, and it's really fun. It's real good. I can't stress that enough. There's a really cool level that I think a lot of reviewers have talked about as well. 99% sure I've already hit that one about halfway through the campaign, and it was really, there's some cool mechanics in there. I would, if you were on the fence about picking it up, or maybe you really liked the first Titanfall but didn't care so much about the tech test, I would give it a try. It's really good. They've justified it in my opinion, and I think they just announced some. Yeah, and then they've just announced, I think, their first round of free DLC drops at the end of the month. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, for me,
Ross,
I
how about yourself?
have. Well, thanks for that. For me...
Ross, how about I talk all over you?
This week, I thought I'm going to play something different, so I played through Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Oh, that's a lovely game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did it give you the
story.
feels?
Yeah, it did a bit, to be honest with you. Just a few hours long. One of those games that you can just play from start to finish. And I loved every single moment of it. But I want to tell you about the mode that I've been playing every weekend in Rocket League, okay?
Mm.
Now, I won't give it its real name, but begins with an F and ends in puck. And basically, the mode is, I'm going to tell people the settings to try it. Create a private game with you and your friends. Go to the basketball mode hoops. Go to mutators and set it to snow day. And then put on, what's the mode called? The sort of demolition mode where you get the punching bags and all the rest of it, the punching gloves and all that.
That's right. So you have to basketball this.
You have a basketball court
with the puck.
And all of the moderate, all the little things turned on where you can freeze the puck and make a whirlwind appear on the puck. It is one of the most fun things you're ever going to do. I'm trying to make videos to send to Psyonix just to include it in the playlist for one weekend because it has made Rocket League the most fun game again for me. I love it, and it's what I do all weekend.
Funk. It's called Funk Punk.
Funk Punk.
Funk puck?
It's a puck.
Funk Puck.
I was
Funk
thinking
Puck.
food puck.
Food puck? I don't know why.
I was thinking
DLC
fork.
Derby, we'll just call it that
Fork
because it
puck?
contains all the little additions that you get with the game. But if you get a chance, check it out with those mutators on. It is so much fun.
Friend Puck?
But in fact, why don't you post in the comments below what should I call this mode for anyone that's actually tried it?
All right.
But anyway, let's find out what's been happening in the subreddit this week.
You're listening to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast. This week in the subreddit.
Rhys, you've got the first story for us.
Well, it's not really a story. It's more like an event. Black Friday, boys. Was that creepy?
No, not too bad.
Really? I was going for creepy. Anyway, it's Black Friday.
Woohoo!
Deals, discounts, shopping. Americans
Crazy
gone
Larry.
crazy. Yeah, Crazy Larry. Crazy Larry's best Larry. I've got to say, he's just amazing. So there's just so many deals that one cannot simply list them all. But did you guys get anything?
Yes.
Well, don't just give me yes, give me elaboration. Like, yes, okay, good. Let's move on to the next question. No, what did you buy?
Right, I traded in my physical copy of The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
I game share with someone, so we halved in for The Witcher Game of the Year edition.
Nice.
And I made £1 profit.
Nice.
And now I'll know the DLC.
What was the discount on that one?
Well, it was £17.50 for the
Holy
actual...
crap, that's cheap.
Yeah, for the Game of the Year edition.
Okay, guys,
and I'm just
just
really?
If anyone hasn't played The Witcher 3 and is
Right
on
here.
the fence,
Right
that's
here.
£17. It's like, at the moment it's
$26.
probably worth like $2 American. But seriously,
Yeah,
it's
thanks
like
for that.
maybe 20, 25 American dollars.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe 20
Somewhere
20
around there.
euros. You can get, with the vanilla game alone, 150 to 300 hours of gameplay.
Well, that's £12.50. It's £5 more for all the DLC, basically.
Oh,
you get vanilla game for £12.50. and
With
the
the DLC, you're looking at like 400 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is some good value.
I've got a story, though, because when I was trading it in, the guy went, where's the music disc?
What?
So I sort of want to keep that, because it comes, the physical disc came with a music CD.
I bought it physical.
Of the
I didn't
music
get a
from the
music
game.
disc.
Did you? I've got a physical, and I got a music disc and a map and lots of stuff.
I think I got a map. I didn't get a music disc.
Aye. Do you know he knocked £2 off the money he was giving me because it didn't have the music disc with it?
That's rude.
Anybody here on the U.S. side, it's $25 for the complete edition and $20 for the regular edition.
Oh, that is such
during
good
sale.
value.
It is.
What about you guys? What did you pick up?
Play?
Yeah, I picked up Inside, which I've
good
been dying to play. And then I am about to pick up ReCore. I saw that was
also
$20. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going
physical from Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
make sure
on the store as well. I thought.
Make sure you get ReCore. It's really good fun. In fact, I actually got a private message on Twitter. I believe it was Twitter. It was either Twitter or the subreddit. It was on Twitter. Lewis Johnson, how you doing, buddy? Said he just sent me a message and said he just played through ReCore thanks to what I said about it on this podcast, and he really enjoyed it, and he wanted to thank me for actually convincing him to buy it. So you're welcome, buddy. And if anybody else is wanting to play ReCore, buy it. Well, it's on discount. It's surprisingly fun. Do it.
Rhys, what about you?
I bought only one game right now because I'm actually saving my pennies because tomorrow, as of recording this podcast, I am going to the UK for a little visit, right? And Ross has totally bitched out on me, and he's not going to come and see me. Thanks, Ross.
Yeah, I'm afraid with work commitments and the fact that I don't like you means that I'm not going to be able to come and see you.
Anyway,
in fact, I'm going to the Scandinavia for the 5 days that you're here, just to avoid you.
Right, that makes perfect sense. I understand now. But in all seriousness, I am saving my pennies, but I could not pass up the Gourmet Edition, which is like the Game of the Year, Complete Edition, whatever you want to call it, of the little party game Overcooked. It was like €10, like nothing. So for those who don't know, it's a little top-down sort of isometric party game. I think it's 4-player local. I don't know if it's more than 4, but it's up to 4. And you have to run a kitchen, and you have to cook things. And I think I've talked about it a couple of times on here before.
Yeah.
And it was just there, and it was like, yes.
Did I ever tell you the story about when I was in Birmingham that I left a hat that I got about
Yeah,
that?
you did. In the last a couple of podcasts ago. Maybe it was even the last one.
Just double checking I've told that story.
I can't believe you did that.
You left it in your hotel room, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Clay, do you want to take the next story?
Yeah. I'm going to do a quick story here. Quick story that came out of the subreddit around.
Okay. I was working when that email went out, and suddenly I get this pop-up in the corner of my screen, and I'm like, what?
So, a bit of a controversy around here. Apparently, Microsoft sent out an email, and some people misrepresented or misinterpreted the subject line of the email for Dead Rising 2, and with a vulgarity, and they immediately.
What did they think it was?
Sent out.
I thought it said Nigel.
Nigel, right? Okay. I don't see the controversy about this. I seen Major Nelson apologising, saying we'll do better in the future. Everyone knew what it was.
Yeah, there's probably literally one person, two people that interpreted
one
that.
Funny meme where someone was like, "What did you call me?" Wait, oh, I see.
I think we'll swiftly move on from this story.
Yeah, we probably should.
Guys, excited games with gold have been announced, and I don't own any of them.
Woohoo! Me either, man.
Oh, really? I own every single one.
Oh.
I've played through and completed every single one. So in that case, I can. I suppose I should probably say what I think of them then. Sleeping Dogs is great. You can steal people on the street and throw them into the boot of your car and then drive your car off of off of a jetty and drown them, and you're actually a police officer. 10 out of 10 would play again. Outlast is a game whose sequel is now crowdsourcing a diaper companion. So that's all I really need to say about that. Outland is a cool little platformer. I'm starting to lose my voice here. Outland is a cool little platformer. It has a really interesting mechanic about switching elements. And Burnout Paradise is the best open world driving game in existence.
Agreed.
Can I just point out, so Burnout Paradise, the guys from that are now at Freefields
Yes.
Entertainment. Dangerous Golf is in sale this week, and I tweeted out about it because that is another great bargain.
$10?
£7.50 for, well, yeah, $10 for
Everybody works in college.
Dangerous Golf.
This is an awesome lineup and killer for the holiday season in terms of, there's going to be a ton of people picking up Xbox Ones for the holiday season, unwrapping those on Christmas or many days throughout Hanukkah. I'm not sure how that works, but this is it's really a great one. I think one of the subredditors commented this is probably, it rivals the April release that we saw earlier in the year in terms of caliber of games here. This is really top notch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. And I've played through most of these, but I will quite happily give Outlast another playthrough. I'll quite happily play Burnout Paradise again.
Seriously?
Sleeping Dogs, yep. Outland. Two games that Outland and Outlast. Never thought
Yeah,
that.
I thought that was a typo at first, and then I sort of squinted and was like, oh.
Never thought. What else has been happening?
Well, actually, something has just happened. It's a rumor right now, but if true, it is one of the biggest bombshells that has hit the Xbox One in a long time, and it will completely change your Xbox One experience. User Stokes1510 posted a link to an article, obviously, that said that the guide is being overhauled, and they are going to apparently remove the snap mode. So no more snap functionality. Guys, hell no, hell yes. Yay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys don't like Snap?
It's something that was designed. Well, no, it's the UI doesn't need it anymore, does it?
Not really. I mean, they've very slowly moved away from it.
They have. It's now. Have you tried to snap something recently?
No.
And then unsnap it? It's not as easy as it once was.
I think there's the key thing. When you asked me, have you snapped something recently? No. Like it was a real firm. I didn't even need to think about it. No, I have not. And I think that is the main issue when Microsoft asked everybody, have you snapped anything recently? They all replied, no, we have not. But
the only thing I'm going to say, those that do native streaming,
yeah, that's nice,
for your chat window at the side.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I don't know if they'll go with the comparison, the PS4 version, where it's just chat on the side when you start the app or what. That's the only thing that I can think of that it might have a relevant effect from. But Beam's coming in.
That's right. Beam's going to be there. It'll have that for sure.
The article suggests that they're going to actually remove it, but replace it with picture-in-picture functionality.
Yay! Thank you. That's what I want. That's what I wanted from the get-go.
Do you remember when you could snap Netflix when the Xbox One came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of sad when they took that out.
You can't do that now?
What?
You can't do that now?
No, Netflix took that out after their first patch. The original Netflix was actually a pretty decent app, and it was designed by Microsoft, and it fit in with the UI. It was all in tiles and stuff, and you could navigate with voice, and you could navigate with your hands, and you could snap it. But then Netflix basically threw that version in the trash and replaced it with their own version, which was incredibly inferior. But what it did was it made Netflix have the same app across all platforms, and their app has steadily improved since then. So now it's not the hot garbage that they dumped on us when it first came out. But yeah, Netflix decided to unify their experience. But originally you could use the.
I remember that. Yeah, I just haven't used Netflix on my Xbox in a long time.
Oh, really? I use it every day. What do you use Netflix or do you just?
Yeah. We have an Apple TV and a Roku hooked up to our other TVs, so I primarily use that. This is my gaming dungeon, so where I keep my Conan slaves. So
Well, talking about your Conan slaves, we've now got an interview that I think Rhys is going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm going to try and say the opening sentence about 10 times, I think.
Here's the interview.
Xbox Snap this week's interview.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We have a very awesome interview up for you right now with Joel Bylos, who is the creative director of Funcom, the Norwegian game development company who just today announced Conan Exiles, which is an upcoming survival game set in the Conan universe. Joel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
It's fantastic to have you, and it's fantastic to have actually gotten through that intro without messing it up. Joel, as I said, thank you for joining us today. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself? What do you do at Funcom?
Okay, well, very little as I can get away with. But I am the creative director of the company, which means that I am sort of responsible for bullshitting. And when I say that, wow. No, I am the creative director of the company. That means my job is to sort of make up the stories, come up with the plot lines, make sure that the game feels like a Conan game, sort of put my finger in all the pies around the game development and make sure that it has the right feeling and the right design methodology.
So it's you we should blame when we don't like the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with taking the blame. I have broad shoulders. Every mistake is a lesson learned. See,
fantastic. So before we start, I think I'm going to have to ask you the most important question, like the one that is not actually on the questions list, but it's incredibly important, and I need to ask you, and that is, what is best in life?
Well, to crush your bugs,
to
hear the lamentations of the critics,
and
see them driven before you.
Excellent.
What just happened?
Sounded very dramatic.
Wait.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Have you not seen Conan the Barbarian, Ross?
Nope.
Get off this podcast.
But Ross, just so we're clear about what's actually going on here, that quote is a Genghis Khan quote.
Yeah.
That they
That's why I
wrote
was
into
getting
the
confused.
script of they wrote it into the script of Conan the Barbarian movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger starred in. So it's
course I've seen
understandable. Yeah. It's understandable to be confused. It's not actually a quote from the Conan stories from the 1930s.
Just one question. What exactly does a creative director do? Can you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day?
So I guess, first of all, I'm the writer as well for this game, so I'm doing all the writing. So and I got to tell you, in a survival game where you got to make 500 items, writing item descriptions for all those items is kind of boring. But I do that. I create a style guide for the game, which sort of phrases how we want the player to experience the game. So, to give a pretty simple example, this is a barbarian game. It's a Conan game. So there are certain things that I say need to be there in the way the game controls. So, for example, when you hit something in the game, you need to feel like you're a barbarian hitting something. The way that the character moves in the game should feel like a barbarian moving. And then I sort of define and I give style examples of how those things should work for the animators or for the art team. And then on top of that, it's a lot of just day-to-day, minutiae, working with the combat team to make sure that combat feels brutal in the way that I would expect that a barbarian game should feel. I work with the recipe team, the guys doing crafting, make sure that the things that we're making fit within the world and are taken from the books and the stories and the movies and the comic books. So just sort of making sure that everything in the game comes to a certain quality standard and a certain feeling that we want the game to have.
Ooh, sounds good. So you have just announced that Conan Exiles is coming to Xbox One next year. I guess, can you just tell us and the listeners a little bit about the game?
Sure. So it's a multiplayer survival game, but you can play single player if you want to. It's kind of, this genre of games like Ark Survival Evolved, and you have, DayZ and things like that. So it's a survival game at the start of the game, your character has been crucified and left to
nice.
die in the desert. And
Starting on
Spoilers.
slow then.
Wow.
spoiler, it's right at the start, and it's in all the promotional art, so it's fine. But and then you basically have to survive in the desert, and then try to figure out why you're stuck in this place called the Exiled Lands, because you're wearing a bracelet, and you cannot leave. If you try to leave, the bracelet kills you. And so there's this magical curse. Yeah, there's a whole sort of background story and lore going on in the world, which is one of our things that I think differentiates us a little bit from some of the other survival games. We've tried to provide this sort of sweeping backstory, and and so as a player, then you just it's like you can build a kingdom, claim land, build cities, craft better weapons. You can explore dungeons, explore the world. You can go around gathering lore. There's all sorts of activities to do. And basically the idea is that we want people to... The sort of tagline of the game is survive, build, dominate. And that's kind of what we want people to do. So if you want to play solo, it's sort of about exploring the mystery of the world. If you want to play with a group of friends, you can, build a city, take slaves, and then, build up an army, attack other players, etc.
Very cool. You got me interested. Very much interested.
I want to know what happens when you're a slave. Like that's gonna suck. I think I'll just log on to Conan Exiles and be a slave for the rest of the day. That sounds like fun.
We don't let you take other players as slaves. But yeah, this is probably another thing that sort of differentiates it a little bit from the other survival genre games. Like most of them are zombies or dinosaurs. But our game, it's like, because it's a world in Conan's world and people live there, there's factions. It's a I don't want to say it's exactly like Skyrim, because Skyrim has a lot more RPG mechanics, but there are camps of NPCs that you encounter around the world, people who live there that are AI controlled, that you can knock out, put a rope around their legs and drag them back to your camp and put them in the Wheel of Pain. And
That's
over
like
time,
my wife.
it's like...
Yeah, that went down well. Next question. So you mentioned games like Ark and DayZ. What differentiates Conan Exiles from those?
Yeah, so I think we have a few systems that differentiate. Like, first of all, on the ground level gameplay, those games they have some melee elements, but they're mostly shooting elements at the higher levels. Or in Ark, I would say that you use your pets and dinosaurs for fighting. Our game, we're putting a lot more focus on combat, especially melee combat. So, we want the moment to moment of fighting other players and NPCs in the world to feel, very immediate and intense. So that it's first person. You can play in third person as well, but it's first person intense melee combat, and we're trying to make that the best in the survival genre.
Actually, so I want to cut in and ask, in the previous Conan game that you guys made, which was the Conan Online, there was decapitation and dismemberment. Are you bringing that into this new game, or?
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Everything appears to be in order.
Okay. There's another check mark for me.
I'd say that goes back to a part of my job as creative director, right? Like making sure that I think people expect that in a barbarian fantasy game, and
yeah, right.
Of course. So yes, brutal. Absolutely.
So. I don't know how it sounds it would make. Let me know if you need anybody to record any of those awful sounds. I did want to ask you as well, for any of our listeners that have not seen the trailer yet, do yourself a favor and go watch the trailer. It's really cool, and one of the things that really stands out is the Titans that are in there. So, can we fight the Titans? Can you tell us a little bit more about that whole dynamic that was in the trailer there? It looked really cool.
So we have a system in the game, and this is again a differentiator, I would say. We have a religion system, and which might sound boring on paper, Religion, yeah. Religion in Age of Conan is like dragging people screaming to an altar and sacrificing them to a snake god. And
nice.
And so we have this system. Basically, once you get to the highest tiers of religion, you start attracting the attention of god avatars. And so what you see in the trailer is the metal statue is the god avatar of a god called Mitra in the Conan universe, and the gigantic snake is the god avatar of a god called Set. and it's two players. The one outside the city is summoning the Metro God Avatar, and the one inside the city is summoning the Set God Avatar, and those avatars will fight each other. So that's like a proxy combat. You can summon God Avatars to fight each other, but that's at the very highest levels of the religion system.
So if you want to mess with someone, you can literally summon a god to go and have them go and step on someone else's city.
Yes, but they go after the altar of the other gods. That's what they do.
So hopefully the other person's city is like in the way then.
Exactly. Exactly. It worked out fairly well in the trailer. I'm not sure how that happened, but
it was very cool. It was very cool.
They will do that. They will roam around and crush things. And,
Well, actually, you just started talking about the lore of Conan, and this game is Conan, and I think that's actually one of the most important parts about this game. That it is actually Conan, and so which has what most people don't realize, it has actually really deep sort of lore and like you said, comic books and movies and stuff. I want to ask you what Conan movie you think is the best?
Well, it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger first movie.
The first movie,
the Barbarian.
Conan the Barbarian. Okay. What about like do you prefer the comics or the books, or what is your favorite form of the lore?
The original stories, I think. Robert E. Howard, he wrote these stories in the 1930s, like 20s through the 30s. He committed suicide when he was...
did not know that.
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. He was really good friends with Lovecraft.
Oh,
wow.
So if you don't know anything about Howard, I really recommend it. His style of writing prose is very modern. So, if you've read Lovecraft, it's very, I wouldn't say archaic, but it's very heavy prose. Whereas Howard writes you could just pick it up and read it. It's amazing. It's really good stuff. And sure, the Conan stories are power fantasies, but they're great. They're really fun. So I really like them. I sort of have always enjoyed those stories, and I really like sort of trying to write in that style when I'm working on the game as well.
Now, you've teased us a little bit already, but I like a good tease. So, do you want to give us a tease about some of the features that you haven't mentioned yet?
It's not that kind of podcast. We keep telling you every week.
Strange things.
I was just going to say, stay away from my mother, Ross.
What is the coolest thing that you can do in Conan Exiles?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I can make it easier for you. Survival games typically are all about creating your own, finger quotes, emergent stories. So basically, people who play survival games always come up with these crazy water cooler stories about something that happened last night on whatever random server, whatever game they're playing. So how about you share one of your favorite moments you've had testing or playing the game?
Okay.
What crazy thing can you remember just off the top of your head that happened?
So we have ragdoll physics, right? And we have
I like this already.
we have trebuchets and things that fire stones. So
right.
you'll be able to put bodies into the trebuchets and fire them across the landscape. That's kind of interesting. But we had a very strange bug at one point where all of the NPCs' penises, those that had them,
Wait.
Wait.
I think we need to segue into. I am getting more questions.
No.
Keep going with this. Keep going with this.
They're attaching themselves to location 000 in the playfield. So it didn't matter wherever you went in the world, and no matter what you fought, there was a guy standing there with his dick basically running all the way to the northern corner of the playfield, and it was stretching across.
That sounds like a feature to me.
Yeah.
Is that one of the gods in the game?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, my friend. Oh, my God.
Titan, sorry. So you guys have made Conan Online and also The Secret World. How does your experience with MMOs translate into this multiplayer survival game?
I just think we know a lot about servers, and we know a lot about handling players on servers. So I think that really helps. Because we've played early access games, we know how they are. I think you'll find that our polish level, at least our stability level for early access, should be pretty solid because of sort of things we know and we've brought with us from working on MMOs. We know how to make a stable server. We know how to let people get onto that server. We know how, So I think, at least I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that when we launch early access, things will be very smooth for people, perhaps compared to what they've normally seen. Our goal for early access is to be not feature complete, but at least to be stable.
I mean, that's stability and server issues, probably the biggest complaint anyone has with any early access game.
Yeah, and we just feel like that's it's kind of in our DNA as a company. So we've been working on those type of games for a long time. So
excellent. So Joel, what other kind of games do you play?
I have a very eclectic taste in games. So I play almost everything. The only games I would say that I don't play are driving games in particular. But then I play Grand Theft Auto, but it's not really a driving game.
Have you played Forza? It's your duty.
I was going to say, have you tried Forza? Because
it's the first time I've been tempted to buy a car game in a long time because everyone's talking about it, but I haven't bought it yet. No, unfortunately.
Hopefully, it'll be on sale later this week on the Xbox Live
Nice.
Gold Deals.
Black Friday.
Deals. Black Friday. Thank you.
That's it.
Green Friday deals. So.
Now, Funcom have experimented a lot with different storytelling formats in the past of games like The Park and Dreamfall. Is it hard going from like a twisted psychological horror game to the big masculine Conan world?
No.
Well, interview over.
So I worked on Age of Conan, which is the online game. I was lead designer on the expansion pack for that game, and then I worked on the Secret World, and then I worked on the Park, and then now I'm back on Conan. It feels a bit more like coming home. I think like there's all these Lovecraft elements in the Conan stories because him and Lovecraft were friends, and they brought in pieces of each other's mythos. So it's actually quite cool. Like we have a system in the game called the corruption system, and it will slowly drive your character insane.
Excellent.
And then you have to watch, people dancing and playing songs and stuff to regain your sanity. So we do have some of these darker elements in Conan Exiles as well. So it's fun. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite elements in that. There was that one Lovecraft game that came out.
Dark Corners of the Earth.
Yes,
Yeah.
It was great.
Yes,
I really liked that element.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that to a certain extent. We're hoping to be able to mess with players with full screen effects and have whispering in their ears and all that sort of stuff so when you explore like some of the dungeons in the world, right, the sort of the evil is seeping out, and as you go deeper into the dungeon, you start to go a little bit insane.
Okay. So it's like a fight against your sanity to get through the dungeon.
It's almost like a timer, right? Some of these dungeons will be big, and it'll be like, I can only explore this branch this time before I need to go out and like watch my stripper slave dancing to get my sanity back, and then I'll be able to go.
I know, that's how I cure my insanity. To the strip club, boys.
Fun for all ages.
Hey, we have male and female stripper slaves. It's all good.
All right.
Whatever.
Equal,
sounds like
opportunity stripper slaves. I like that.
It sounds like the Westworld game that I'm hoping in the Conan Barbarian Day and Age.
But before I ask you the next question, Joel, I just want to fanboy a tiny bit and say the Park is awesome.
Oh,
I really like it.
Cool.
Especially as a fan of those kind of games. It was great.
It was a lot of fun. It was my boss. They literally came to us and said, "Can you make a game in 3 months?" And we said, "We will try." Mm-hmm. And then in 3 months, we made enough of a game that they said, "You can have 3 more months, and then we'll launch it." So it was a game made in 6 months, and I think it was pretty. I'm pretty happy with it. It was
it's short and sweet, but it's really good. If anyone hasn't played The Park, like if you ever see it on sale, whatever, pick it up. It's worth playing. It's just a nice little story. It's good. I wouldn't say it's nice, actually. It's definitely not a nice story.
Yeah, I played that. That's not a nice story.
Yeah, I didn't use the right words.
The voice actress is
I'm Googling it, and I'm going, yeah, that doesn't seem like a nice story. It seems like something I need to turn on all the lights for when I'm playing.
It's fun. The voice actress from that is the voice actress in the new Mass Effect game, too. Mass Effect on Andromeda. She's the main voice in that game as well.
Ah.
So if you're a fan of Mass Effect, you can also check out the park to hear her voice in advance.
Hey.
Oh, I love Mass Effect.
Yeah. So
What?
Right, next question.
That's an in-joke. Ross, you're double fired. No Mass Effect and no Conan.
Keep up last week's episode. No.
I'm not a fan of Mass Effect, Ross.
What? Sorry, I missed that. I was too turned off after you said Mass Effect.
Oh.
Awesome.
You know what? Let's move on to the
Hey,
next question before people send us more death threats. This question's for me because like the Conan world is basically like a heavy metal band's cover art from the 80s. Right? You guys like listen to metal continuously while you're playing the game, right? Like seriously?
Well, we do live in Norway,
Right.
and there was a chart that I saw released the other day that said the number of heavy metal bands per capita per population is most concentrated in Finland, Sweden, and Norway. So yes,
Finland is number one.
Finland is probably number one, but
Okay.
I won't challenge you on that. But yeah, it's yeah. We do like metal, but when we're going with the orchestral soundtrack because people love that with Age of Conan. What we did there.
Actually, honestly, I think it will be much better suited. I mean, like for example, have you played the new Doom?
Yes, I have.
I mean, it has amazing heavy metal and like electronic music, and it really suits the sort of cheesy feel of the game, But Conan is a bit more epic, I think.
Yeah, I think in Doom it works as well because it's a little bit more industrial as well.
Yeah, and I mean, heavy metal while you're looking at stripper slaves. I mean, some people might like that, but it might not really fit thematically. Then again,
It depends on how they roll the stripper slaves and what they're wearing, but yes, or what they're not wearing.
Wait! You can dress your stripper slaves?
Well, it depends. Like depending on the culture they're from. So, this is going to sound like a horrible. I'm going to sound like a horrible misogynist now, but it's actually the case that there's male and female versions. So, but depending on their culture, they can be better or worse strippers. So you get better and better tiers. This is all slaves, right? So you get blacksmiths, you get people who do everything. You get warriors to guard your fort. You get archers to shoot people from your walls. You get stripper slaves. You get blacksmiths, you get tanners, you get guys who will go around lighting your torches at night, all these kinds of slaves. And depending on which culture they're from in the Conan universe, they will be better or worse types. So you can get, tier 3 stripper slaves or tier 1 stripper slaves. And the tier 1 strippers are just kind of clumsy and they're kind of ugly. They don't wear the nicest outfits. But the tier 3 ones, they're hot, as you know.
I'm just picturing in my mind a board meeting where you guys like laid out like the development roadmap. So stripper tiers.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know how much Rhys has briefed you, but we have a really, really important question that we do ask all of our guests, and you can't skip this answer. You have to give us a definitive answer here. Which classic video game character could you personally knock out with a single punch?
Are you serious? And
Yep.
big Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. That pretty boy.
Nice.
That pretty boy. Man,
That is
one
a great
punch.
answer.
One punch.
And then he'd go cry about it afterwards.
Oh yeah, he'd go talk to Tifa for hours, and
That is a good answer.
That is probably one of my favorites, actually.
I
Well, look, thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule writing about strippers, so that you can, so that you can come and join us.
it's
Now the
important
game.
work, man. That's important.
You're doing God's work, son. Keep it up.
Make sure to give her or him a really good backstory for me, okay? I'm all about the story, not so much the.
Yeah, it's
the
the
info
plot.
and read the story.
I need the plot. I need a really good plot.
Everyone should go and subscribe to the subreddit or watch it for the plot. You'll learn a lot about film.
Well, thanks. I know what that subreddit is, so I'm not saying hidden. Don't know why I know what it is. But anyway, look, thanks so much for joining us. The game comes to Steam at the end of January and Xbox on.
It's in spring when
Spring,
that'll depend on how quickly we push it through the process.
Damn it, Ross. I thought that was going to work.
Yeah, I was halfway there. But look, Joel, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
We all know that a Scottish Claymore could really beat down Conan any day, but, have fun.
We should try. We should try and see. The Sumerians are based on Scottish, essentially based on Gaelic. So the Sumerian factions in Conan. So you should check that out. They're cool.
I'm definitely going to check that out. And again, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joel.
Have a great evening. Bye.
So, boys, Dancing Slaves.
Yeah.
I'm all about
That's a bit over enthusiastic, actually. Sorry.
that did come out in an unusually enthusiastic tone of voice.
Although Clay's just really got me wanting Westworld the game now.
I know. It actually has been something I've really been thinking about since watching that show. But this will fill that niche for me, I have a feeling.
Niche.
Rhys, why are you coming to the UK?
I am coming to the UK so that I can sit there and wonder where you are. And then I can passive-aggressively message you on Twitter about how upset I am.
Fair comment. So, I've been your host, Ross.
No, okay. But before we end the show, I do have to say a couple of things. I am going to the UK. I'm going to go and see Agostino. Hi, Ago. And I'm going to go and meet Emma from Rare. And it's going to be very, very exciting. I know I get to go to Rare HQ. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I know you definitely don't care, and you're not really interested in that, so I probably won't tell you or anything. But that's going to be great fun. Very exciting. And also, next week on Monday let me open my calendar here. Monday the 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern American time, there is going to be an AMA with the guys who we just interviewed on the pod, Funcom, except it's going to be the whole crew there, and they're going to answer all your Conan and non-Conan and female and male-related stripper questions. So make sure you pop in for that.
So, guys, thank you for another great episode of the Party Chat podcast. Rhys, thanks for joining us. Enjoy your time in the UK.
I plan to.
And Clay, you've been all right.
Yeah.
And for another week, Xbox turn off.
You're listening to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast, the official podcast of the Xbox One subreddit.
Let's do this.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We have a very, very, very awesome interview for you now with Joel Bylos, the creative director of Funcom, who is a Norwegian games developer, and you might know them from such games as The Park and the Conan series of video games they made, the Conan Online game. You know what? I totally botched that intro.
You also said Conan Online game like a question.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I started to stumble. Son of a bitch. Hey, at least I remembered the name of the podcast.
Hey.
Okay, let's go again. All right, everybody, welcome back. Now we have a very special interview for you. Son of a bitch. All right, everybody, welcome back. Son of a bitch, you're interrupting me now. All right, everybody, welcome back. We have a very special interview for you right now with Joel Bylos. Clay, you shut up. Who is the creative director from...
And we will be back with another episode of Party Chat next week, like usual, possibly with a special guest.
Probably not. Xbox.
Hello,
So-
this is Ross's mother. I'm here to tell you about what he was like when he was a child.
This is what happens when we podcast.
He was a
Why did you sound
lad.
like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
This is what happens when we podcast past midnight. My Xbox just turned on. I don't understand. What the hell?
Oh, I bet we should just give this
Yeah,
up.
just stop. Just stop.